4, was it? This door is locked. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Ist das Sebastian? Wie geht's dir? Ist das Sebastian? Wie geht's dir? Sehr gut. Alles klar. Alles klar. I better put myself on mute. Yes, I had a slight technical problem before I came on. Well, not really a technical problem. I'll explain. I just need to shut this door so I don't disturb the other half. Hang on a second. Hello, hello. Yeah, I was just getting set up and I broke a glass and I threw up. So, yeah. All right. That's how we're doing. I had the problems with internet just recently, so this is going to be right. It's been very unreliable. It's not very reliable here in Pakistan, the internet. I'm not saying, atrocious, but not great. So, yeah. And yeah, I'm not as well prepared as I normally am. I'm not normally that prepared anyway, but in this particular case, I've just dashed on because, as I said, I broke a glass and it was, well, it was actually a bottle of oil, and knocked it out of the cupboard and it just went all over the kitchen floor and it was a bit of a mess. So yeah, now I'm getting Andy Johns on today, so hopefully we'll do that now and we'll try and get the Discord thing. Let me see how that works. I've never tried it before, so yeah, we'll see how we go. Oh, we already got 6 people here. That's good, isn't it? Nice one, guys. Hello, Frozen. Should I call you Frozen? I like, it's a little anecdote, right? I grew up in the Middle East and also in Africa, and my dad was an engineer, and I went to boarding school, but I come from a town called Barrow-in-Furness. It's a very working class town, and so I've got quite strong working class roots, really. But because my dad went to became an engineer, he studied abroad, and I got sent to boarding school, and I never really ever fitted in very well at the boarding school. Just, it's just cultural differences, I suppose. Let's just call it that. And everybody in boarding school, in English boarding school, they all call themselves by the surname. Johnson, Boris Johnson. Johnson, what you doing, boy? And all this. And apart from not liking it, also being quite contrarian, I always insisted on calling everyone, as much as possible, by their first names, because it's nice to be on a first name basis, isn't it? So, yeah. So, yes, Mr. Well, I mean, I don't mind calling you Frozen, but if you do have a first name, we could be on first name terms, if you like. But if not, I'll just call you Frozen. Yes, it is a shipbuilding town. There's another word that begins with SHI that might describe it as well. Some might describe it that way. Certainly a no-nonsense sort of town, and it's mostly populated by descendants of Scottish and Irish immigrants, of which I am proud to say that I am one. Okay, Richard. Well, nice to meet you. I guess Richard is what you like. Not Rich, not Dick, not Richie. Just Richard. Fine by me. Good. Yeah, so give me a second, guys, because I've been chatting with Andy Johns, who is also a specky game coder and sometime collaborator. He worked with me on Snowed Under, and I helped him a little bit with a couple of his games. And we're always chatting on Facebook and stuff, so we're quite good online pals. I've never met him in person. I only met him online, and I've been here in Kazakhstan all that time. But I think I've got, hopefully, fingers crossed, I've got Discord on here. I'm going to try and get him on so that we can chat, and we'll have a quick chat with him and talk about his games and stuff, and then I'm going to see if we can teach him a little bit of assembly code, because I figured that if I have a guinea pig, let's say, if I have someone to sort of teach directly, to ask questions and so on, you can sort of represent everybody else in a way, right? So, and also, well, he is one of my Patreon supporters as well, which is always much appreciated, and so, I might also open that up to Patreon supporters if they actually want to come on and get an actual lesson. So that's Andy there. That's Mr. VDub. And yeah, I am setting up Discord, but I am installing update 5 of 15, and now we're on 6 of 15. Yeah. I should learn my lesson there, shouldn't I? I should get everything set up before I come on. But as I said, we're in the middle of moving flats, and it's a bit mental. So yeah, it's complicated because when my wife first moved in, when we got married, she moved in and brought all her stuff, but we were going to get a bigger place, but because of the pandemic we couldn't, so everything got moved into 1-bedroom flat. And then, because of the pandemic, my school got closed, and so we had to put a lot of stuff from the school, like books and furniture, desks, and all in this 1-bedroom flat. So it got really packed, and it's been quite hard. Not hard like a lot of people in the world live, but it's all relative, I suppose. But yeah, it's been crowded. Let's put it that way. And it's been a challenge to kind of get everything cleared up and tidied. And when if you've got a house that's full of stuff, it's really hard to keep the dust out and keep surfaces. You sort of massively increase the surface area of the apartment because you've got so much stuff everywhere. So yeah. I've been very busy. That's all I can say. I haven't done much coding or anything in my spare time. So yeah. Anyway, let me. I'm just kind of keeping you guys entertained while I wait for the update, which is now complete. And I'm gonna look for Andy's Discord, and hopefully I can add him again. Should have done this before we started, but. Just been so busy, so Yeah, we'll get sorted. Right, let me see. How do I add? No, I don't want to create a server. I don't even know anything about Discord either. Friends. It's got to be friends, hasn't it? Let me have a look. Nope. If anyone wants to contact me on Discord, and Andy, maybe you can do that. This is my Discord for you guys. That's my Discord. So hopefully we'll figure out how to do that. Just a minute. Direct message. It must be direct message then, is it? Sorry about this, guys. I'm sure you're all very patient. If you have any questions. Okay, I just had a friend request and it's disappeared. Can I catch it? Pending. Here we go. Accept. Oh, he's there now. Good. So, what do we do now? We need to... Alright, I just say hi. So start off like that. It's always a good start. And then make a call. How do I do that? Ah, there's a button here. It says start voice call. I reckon that might be it. Hello? Hey, how are you? I'm not bad. All the better for seeing you. We're going to find out if the Kazakhstan internet can cope with all this. I'm just curious about how I... Okay, so I think what I do is I pop you out, so to speak, right? Yes. I'll just pop you out and I'll see if I can get you on the screen. Alright, just a minute. You can hear me alright, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. So I guess we go window, capture. And, I'm just getting a blank screen here though. Well, if we don't get your face, I dare say the world could live without it. Yeah, I don't know about that. But I can... Right. Well, I can hear you okay. And what about you guys in the chat? Can you hear him now?
It's saying that they can't hear me.
Okay. We'll give him a second because he might take a minute to catch up. Thank you, Mitziana. And hello, by the way. I didn't even say hello. How rude of me. Okay, can't hear him. Alright, well, let's try and solve this. If I can hear you in the headset, why can't... Is it...
It might be that I'm very quiet. What I can do is I can go and grab my main head and my main microphone.
Well, the thing is, you're really loud and clear on mine. Oh, let me... Can you just say something again?
Hello?
Yeah, I've got... Right, I've got you on desktop audio, right? Now I'm going to crank you up a bit, right? Let's try again. Say again.
Is that any better?
Wow, that should be really loud now. Just say 1, 2 or something.
It's a video call, isn't it?
Yeah, you're really loud on the monitor now, desktop audio. So they should be able to hear you. What are we on? Are we on a voice or a video call? No, everyone's saying they can hear you now. Good. Yeah. I'll tell you what it was, guys, right? It's the desktop audio, and because we were playing a specky game,
You can hear me now.
Oh yeah, everyone can hear you now. It's good. And it was so kind of loud, the beeper, that I had to balance it. So that's good. Be nice if I could see you though. I don't know if there's a way of doing that. I mean, let me just see. Yeah, you're definitely there. So.
Yeah. The camera's on.
Yeah. It's just not coming up on the OBS. I don't know that. I had this trouble with. Do you think I can use? I can't use media source, can I? No. Any of you guys know how to do it? If I go to the OBS, have you used it much? Because I've got like display capture or window capture.
I think it's probably because I'm not in part of the window capture. I've used OBS before.
Yeah.
But
because I'm going here window capture, right, and then it's coming up and it says Discord. Oh, there we go. Maybe it's this one. No, now I've got Discord Andy J, right? But it's. I'm just seeing if I can change the capture method. I'll switch it to Windows 10. It was on auto, but it's not window match. Yeah, you see, it's coming up as an option, but I'm not seeing the video. It was a bit like that when I tried to do it with YouTube as well. Oh well, I guess we can manage without the mug, right?
Yep.
So to speak, everyone would be happy enough. So Andy, you've been very busy in the last few months. Haven't put a game out for quite a while, huh?
No, it's on my mind that I haven't done that. I've been playing around with lots of different ideas.
So do you guys?
By the way, when I'm talking, I can't hear. If you talk, I can't hear you. It's like I override you.
Oh, I see.
I can see you. I can see that you're saying something, but then, yeah.
Okay, so I should wait for you to sort of finish then.
There must be a better way of doing it.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Over.
I can. Squadron leader, over.
Yes, okay, let's just do the whole conversation like that. I don't know. As I said, this is first time for me, but I guess if people can hear it. Well, how are we doing? We have a very small audience of 5, of which you and I are 1, so that means an audience of 3. But a few more people might pop in. You never know, and it's never about the numbers. I just enjoy the chit chat, really.
Yeah.
So I guess you know Sebastian, don't you? That's Moritz there, Sebastian.
Yeah.
And we've got Richard Frozen Well, and we've got Mitsuyama as well. And I think that's it for now. Perhaps we might get a few lurkers later. Who knows? Anyway, what just for the huge audience that doesn't know about your games, what was the first game that you made on the Spectrum? Was it Ooze?
No, first game was Monty's Honey Run.
Ah, yeah, of course, yes.
But that started out as Chester Cheetah.
I see. You don't really want to be using a cheetah in AGD, do you? Because it's not exactly speedy, but
It looked a little bit more like Pink Panther, to be honest.
I see.
Yeah.
Or Magenta Panther, maybe.
I think he was yellow. He was yellow, even though panthers are black. But anyway, cheetahs are yellow and black.
I think that's a fair description. Yeah, they're probably more a sort of tan and black, but I imagine that in a cartoon they'd probably be yellow. if you know that terrible NES game called the Cheetah Men, isn't it? Something like that. Are you aware of that?
No, I've not seen
I
that.
think you know that Nintendo has. Well, I think it was a yeah. I'll give you a little background, but basically, there was if I remember rightly, and if I'm incorrect, then perhaps someone will tell me. But Nintendo are very protective about what games they allow on their console. Right? They have this Nintendo seal of quality.
Yes.
But after a little while, some people figured out ways of releasing games for the NES, as we call it in the UK. One of those games was called the Cheetah Men, as in the cheetah, and it features 3 anthropomorphic cheetahs for the NES. It is notable for its main theme, as it was later used as the music for the first level in Cat Mario, as well as its extremely low quality, often being cited as one of the worst video games of all time.
Awesome.
So yeah, it is. It's pretty terrible. I haven't actually tried it, but I've seen it on YouTube and stuff, and it is terrible. What is Cat Mario? Is that a...
I have no idea.
Well, Seabun Action, also known as Cat Mario, is a Japanese freeware platform game released in February 2007. It's known for its levels designed to cause extreme frustration due to innocuous-looking objects that suddenly kill the character. Although the game is a parody of Super Mario Bros., it adds elements from other Marios, such as Super Mario World. Right, well there you go. You learn something new every day. A few hours of entertainment to be had from Cheetah Men and, indeed, Cat Mario. So, yeah, so you were telling me about... so you decided to change it to Monty Mole, right?
Yeah, I loved Monty Mole. That it was one of my favourite games on the Speccy. Although horribly slow in places.
And
how a game can go from 30 or whatever, a decent frame rate to a very poor frame rate just because you've walked through part of the screen. But yeah, I decided to give Monty another outing.
right, yes, and it was quite well received at the time, yeah.
It was, yeah. I was surprised at how well received it was because, this was just me after 40 years wanting to write my own game, and obviously AGD allowed me to do that. But yeah, for the response was really good, which obviously gave me a bit of confidence, and so Temple of Lost Souls came about.
Right, yeah, that's also Monty Mole as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Go on.
I was toying with the idea of at that point making my own character because I didn't know whether people were going to get droppy about using Monty. But I forget who it was that let me know about it. It may have been you. It may have been David. But somebody posted about Honey Run on Twitter.
Right.
And I don't have Twitter. And it was one of the ex-Gremlin guys, basically saying, this is great, love it, sort of thing. And so it's like, well, if maybe they still have the license for it, I don't know. But if they're giving me the seal of approval, then I'm just going to make another one.
Yes, I do have a vague recollection of that. I'm just trying to... let me just see if I can double check. I guess it was probably Pete Harrop then, right? who
I
who
don't
actually
think it
wrote
was.
he was the one who wrote it.
It
So,
was it. Is it okay? Yeah, it may have been. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was
but I,
nice to
but
see.
I don't but I don't think I don't think that he owns the copyright.
Probably not.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, I mean, nobody's said a word to me over what the 5 years that it's been out. So
Sure. Well, I mean, as long as you're not kind of cashing in, isn't it? It's people are all right with it.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's only on the spectrum, isn't it? After all.
that's it.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
So
you're just for people that want to sort of try those games on an emulator, you've got your own sort of website thing where they can download them, right?
I certainly do. It's Bubblesoft Games, which I'll put a link in. Um, there you go. All free. Um, yeah,
Cool. And
it was fun.
was the Ooze your third game then?
Um, yes.
Because I think by the time that you made Ooze, that was probably where I'd started to kind of stick my head above the parapet myself. You know, I guess you and I probably got
Yeah.
started about the same time, really. And
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
and I know Ooze was really well received because it was a little bit different, right? As well as being very polished, you know, the graphics were really nice and the game was really well balanced, you know. But also it was something, a little bit of a variation from the standard, you know, wander around and collect stuff. I mean, there was still a bit
That's
of that, of
right.
course, but that's something that you've tried to do with your later games as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to. I always like to try and do something new.
Yeah,
Oh, and we're buffering.
yeah, I can
Um,
see.
so so I don't. Yeah, some new type of feature. Um, maybe something that hasn't been done before. Ooze was. I mean, everybody was really nice about Ooze.
Yeah,
A lot of people say it's one of their favourite games on the Spectrum. That's lovely to hear. Because there are millions of games. But I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed putting that together. It was hard because AGD will easily let you do a standard platformer.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but to have like the inverted gravity, and okay, I mean it's when you know AGD, it is a kind of a simple thing to do, but I think from a gameplay point of view, it added a new dimension. So
Well, yeah, for
maybe that's
100%.
why they
Because
liked it.
when you sort of look at a level, and you know that the way that you traverse the level. So, for example, if you play something like
Yeah,
Manic Miner, right, or even the Monty Mole games or whatever, you know, you go into the room and you look and you see, okay, there's patrolling enemies here. Then they always follow the same paths, and without being too harsh, I always think, you know, those things that you used to get at the fairground where you had like a copper ring and you had to just guide it around a metal wire without touching the sides. You remember those things?
yeah, yeah,
So that's how I kind of feel about those standard platform games, because it's just more or less a case of following a path and not touching anything. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So there isn't there isn't any real sense of intelligence or character to the enemies, really. They're sometimes they're entertaining because of the graphics, you know, and that's something that people especially like with things like Manic Miner and so on.
Yeah.
But in the end, when you go from one room to the next, they might just as well be, you know, a Pac-Man as a barrel or a rock, you know, because they're not behaving any differently, right?
Mm. That's the hard part.
Well, indeed it is, because that's difficult to do, of course, within AGD as well, because it's not
No
it's not
offense, mate.
no no
No
no
offense intended.
no, I mean, it's designed for certain things and it does that very well, but
Yeah.
it's it is, I mean, as you know, I mean, I've sort of done about I think probably maybe 4 or 5 games on
Yeah.
AGD. I mean, certainly. Well, the first one I did was that Space Invaders one, which is obviously nothing like anything on AGD.
Yeah.
And then Terrapins and Roust, and Snowed Under, right? So and Chez
Yeah.
Maxime
Yeah.
now as well, right? So that's 5.
Yeah.
And none of those use the kind of wander around the platforms and jump over the patrolling enemies, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's not to
I guess
say.
that's,
Sorry, yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I guess that's, because you've learnt Z80, you've expanded beyond what AGD can do. It definitely gives you that extra scope to try and make it do things that it shouldn't, or it doesn't do normally.
Well, that's true. Although in a way, it's kind of necessity being the mother of invention, because I was coding. I wanted to create these arcade games like Terrapins and Roust, right? And those are not. At the time, I didn't know Z80, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of create them, but obviously I had to start doing all kinds of tricks within AGD to make it happen, because, as you say, it's not really designed for it, but it is fast enough to do it, more or less, right? I mean, in the end, I did manage to more or less create a version of Joust on the Spectrum using AGD, and I only had to do a little bit of assembly. At that time, I really didn't know that much about it. It was only until Jonathan let me have the source code, which was really generous of him, that I was able to kind of. That's how I learned. I learned because I wanted these extra tools just to make the process a little bit less painful, There were lots of little frustrations within AGD. I mean, the results can be great, but sometimes it does feel like you've got one hand tied behind your back all the time, and that's that's frustrating. But it's like the one size fits all thing, isn't it? Really.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
But
that's kind of.
Yeah, continue. Go on.
I was going to say that's kind of where I've got to with the games that I'm trying to make now. Like once you've got your main character sprites down and maybe a few enemies, and obviously you're trying to push either the way that the character moves, or you're trying to add new types of enemies, that all takes a lot more code within AGD, and all of a sudden you find that you don't have enough memory left to actually make the game you want to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I think anyone that's used it would have experienced that.
Yeah.
And I think that it's sorry, I just have another sip of tea. To be honest with you, I think the best thing, the main sort of function of AGD, if you like, is it's to give middle-aged men the chance to put out a game, right? That's basically. Yeah. I'm not being nasty or anything, but I'm literally saying that there's a lot of fellas our age that dreamed of making a game, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, and would love to have had it published and just see people play it, right? And AGD makes that possible, right? It allows you to put that, cross it off your bucket list, right?
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah.
And
it does.
And and that's great, that's a wonderful thing, and that's I have to say, a fantastic, yes, as Frozen World says, it's like a childhood dream, and I have to, really applaud Jonathan for creating that tool, for making those dreams come true, right? And
Yeah.
Look, a lot of those games are not that great. Like, let's be honest, um, because as you said, memory restrictions, various other things for whatever reason, and they are quite samey. A lot of them are, well, okay, you've got this character and you've got to run around these rooms and you've got to collect all the bits and take them back and win the game, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously, people who are people who are just playing games rather than coding them, let's say the wider Spectrum community, the wider retro community as it is, they will see these games and they'll say, "Oh, bloody hell, another ADD game! Look at this!" And and
Yeah.
yeah, frankly, a lot of the time, if you look at it from that perspective, they are a bit cookie cutter, right? That's a fact, and
Yeah.
they use the same engine and everything else. It's a little bit like Amos, isn't it, in that sense, right? But I mean, coming from my background as a music promoter, someone who worked for nigh on sort of 15 years with new bands, who kind of spend a lot of time rehearsing, writing songs, and they have this dream of being on stage in a gig in London, with their mates playing, and and they'll invite all their mates, and their mates will come down, and they'll have a great time, and maybe they'll never get that far, right? Some of them do. I did a gig in 1998 with this band. They were all sort of 17 years old. They shouldn't have even been playing because they were too young to be in the pub, right? And it's a fun story because they wrote they had a logo, right? And they put this band logo, they sort of spray painted it onto the wall of the dressing room. And the landlord was really annoyed about it, and he ended up painting over it, right? But some years later, he probably regretted that he didn't have the word Muse on his dressing room wall, because they became pretty famous. They went on to do quite well for themselves, those young chaps. And the 17 people that were at that gig probably barely remember it, but. So yeah, I mean, I have a few stories like that, but connecting it back to what we were talking about there, it's like a dream, isn't it? It's a dream come true. You get to play a gig in front of your friends, and you get to you get that feeling. I don't know if you've ever played on stage, but it's a real.
I have a few times.
Sorry.
I have a few times.
Oh really? How interesting. What do you do?
Yeah. I used to play the bass guitar.
Oh, hey, we got a little band building up here. We just need a drummer and. Well, anyway, it's well, you know what it's like, right? Have you been in bands? What did you do? Like original stuff or covers or?
We did both.
Yeah.
We did the original and covers. I think the covers went down a lot better than our original stuff did, but that is.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm drawing parallels here all the time because I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? If I make an original game on the Spectrum, or should I do a conversion of Donkey Kong? Which one's going to go down better? It's kind of covers is what people like. A combination of nostalgia and familiarity and so on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it is like that, right? And that's the thing. So I'm on the one hand, there is a case, like there is with other game creation tools, to say, you know what, these games are not groundbreaking necessarily. They're not.
No, I know. I mean, an AGD,
it's a dream come true. But you have to. I'm a romantic. I can't. I know. As I said, referencing the music, I knew even. There were people who would get up on stage and they would be a bit rubbish. I mean, I did an open mic night, but I just think that I've got a. There's a place in my heart for anyone that's willing to, have a go, and be creative and be active, and maybe what they do isn't going to change the world, but so what, right? It's joy, isn't it? It's joy, it's happiness, it's love, and you can't really. That does sound a little bit romantic to talk about that in terms of retro games or whatever, but I do believe that, because I know it myself, and you know it. You know, you put the hours in, and you care about it, and it matters, and the impact that it has, you know, the feeling that it has.
Yeah.
And I can see Sebastian there is saying that you make lots of new friends, and that's a good example, you know, Sebastian, because Sebastian will tell you straight away, you know, that he's you know, he's no sort of Shigeru Miyamoto when it comes to making games, right? I mean, it's not like the series of games that he's made are you know, amazingly original and groundbreaking and whatever, right? But that's really not what it's about for him either. You know, it's about having fun, it's about making friends, it's about sharing,
Yeah.
it's about collaboration with people, and
And every one
you
of his
know,
games has gone down really, really well.
well, there's a lot, you know, there's a huge amount of love gone into those games. It's clear, it
Yeah,
was clear,
absolutely.
you know. I mean, I remember the very first one that he made, and it was dodgy, right? You know, difficult, unfair, and unbalanced, and difficult. Um, but it's very clear that a lot of heart went into it, you know. So for that reason, it's worth you know, I think it's worth remembering all of that sort of thing. I'm sure Sebastian's probably laughing now, but you know, I'm honest and I'm fair, but that's the way I see it, you know.
Yeah. But then you say that, right?
Mm.
So you've just spent however many months making a game in AGD,
Yeah.
and I certainly this was one of my big things with Ooze. Obviously, you as you're making it, you're playing it, and it becomes almost second nature.
Yes.
But when you give it to somebody else to play, you're worried sick that it's either going to be too easy or too hard. Because by this point, you've lost you know the gameplay so well
Yeah.
that your opinion doesn't matter anymore. It's about somebody else. So um, I've always tried to have somebody. I mean, there have been several people a lot through the years that I've given my games to, and I've got them to test through and try and just give me critical feedback, because
Yeah.
that's what I want. I don't want somebody. I don't want to give the game to somebody and they'd say, "Oh, it's absolutely brilliant, Andy." You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
want to know
Well, that's the
is it
other thing.
hard?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, just to answer that second part, for sure, I get this as well. I mean, I think anyone who's in the kind of vintage gaming writing
it is, mate.
sphere is something where you get so much positivity because people really want you to keep going, right? They don't want you
Yeah,
to give up, and they want to keep the scene alive, and it's about, as I said, it's about support and friendship and everything else, and that's
yeah,
it's you know, it's honorable. It's a nice thing. Um, but there's only so much smoke that people can blow, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's kind of like, well, you know, it's not that I don't appreciate it, but it's yeah. So well, what I found, and I think, you know, you probably find this as well, is that a couple of things happen as you go along. You know, you first there's a saying in Russian which is like, the first pancake is always lumpy, right? And so it means, you know, the first try is never the best try, right? And
yeah,
you
yeah,
learn, but you learn, right, and you make progress and you get better, right? So
yeah.
and
Oh, definitely.
and what you can kind of, the two things that you mentioned there, right? On the one hand, you know, that you're not so sure about how playable the game is, or how difficult or how easy it is, because you know everything, right? There's that part
Mm,
of it, and then the other part of it is that there's how much of the feedback can you actually take seriously, right?
yeah,
In terms of it being critical, and you know, I use that in every sense of the word, really, right? So
mm,
it's a way of, as in being not only critique but also as kind of important, right, as a useful thing. So
yeah,
and it's but I think that comes with time and experience, right? So the first thing is that as you make a few more games and you get more feedback and you kind of figure that out, you have a sense yourself, because you're a gamer, right? You played games for years and years, and you played hundreds of great games, and usually you kind of, when you play them, you also think, oh, how does that work? What makes that good? And whatever, right? And then when you're writing, it's a similar thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's that balancing. It's about the balance of the game that you can bring to it, and you get better at doing that, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that's one aspect of it, and then the other thing is that like Sebastian was saying, you build up relationships, and you get people that you trust, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the first person that I got that from was David, David Sapphire.
Yeah.
And he I would send him something, and he wouldn't at all. He would say almost nothing in terms of, oh wow, that looks great. All he would say is, oh, I got stuck in the corner, straight away. But at the end of the day, that's what you want to hear, right? It's kind of like, oh yeah, please tell me the bugs, because I need to, I want to know that why that isn't working and whatever, right? I don't need the flattery. Not that it isn't nice, but without, I mean, I don't. It's not. I don't want to sound arrogant, because it's not arrogance, but that you're going to get some flattery, right? That people are going to go, oh, that's great, and it's not kind of false. I mean, they do genuinely like it, right? And they're happy, and they love seeing new games for the machine and everything like that. But
they'll forgive a lot, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the point.
And what you want, like I'll take flattery all day long. Of course, that's it's not why I do it, but we like having the games. But you take more out of the criticism.
Yeah, for sure. And it's constructive, and as you say, I mean, and I'm sure that Sebastian would also agree, because I know that he's kind of built his own little team. I mean, you and I aren't really a team, but we bounce ideas off each other all the time,
Yeah.
And because there's that kind of respect. And interestingly, that the other thing about that is, and again, it's a question of kind of someone that has a different perspective to you, right? So, because I know that.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick. Nice to see you. We're having a good chat here, aren't we? This is good. I like this. This is why I was talking about doing a podcast. So perhaps we can develop it. But
maybe we should do that. Yeah.
And now I've lost my thread. So
sorry.
No, it's all right.
I think we were talking about riffing off of each other, weren't we?
Yeah. So what it is, right? It's like when you see, you and I mean, the chat won't know this, but you and I have had sort of 2-hour back and forth conversations about 1 or 2 pixels in a sprite graphic, So,
yes, we have.
No, the eyes. It's the eyes. It's not right. No. It doesn't work. Whatever, right? But it's fine. It's not. It's sometimes it gets to the point where you think, take a break. But we always know when that point comes, right? We just let's sleep on that. We'll do it later. We'll do something else, right? But yeah, what I appreciate working with someone like you is that it's just a different perspective, right? Because you're a very kind of visual thinker, and so and I'm more a kind of background. Let's say you're more a foreground guy, and I'm more of a background guy, right?
Yes.
So it works in that sense, because it's funny, isn't it? Because sometimes, like, there are times, when I said that David's. I'll send something to David, and the only thing he'll say is, "Oh, I got stuck here" or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But David will be complimentary if I send him some source code and I show him how I've done something, and if he likes how I've done it, then he'll say, "Oh, nice, good." You know what I mean? Then I will get a compliment, but I won't.
Yeah.
But I'll never get one about like the game more or less. No, he does sometimes. He says, "No, that feels good. That's fine." But I know that when I send it to him, his job is not necessarily to have fun playing the game. What he wants to do is have fun trying to break it. You know.
Yes.
And breaking stuff is often just as fun as making stuff.
Part of the
right?
testing process. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Patrick, the topic is this is my good friend Andy, and he is a Spectrum game coder, and he's written at least 5 games. Is it, Andy? Would we say? Should we include Snowed Under?
Yeah.
We probably should.
That would be 6 then.
All right. So let me see. Make sure I have my knowledge. So there's the 2 Monties, right?
Yep.
And there's two Nixies.
2 Nixies.
And there's Ooze. And
Yep. And Snowed Under.
And Snowed Under, right? Okay, good. So we're going for magnificent 7 at some point, hopefully.
And so I mean, I think a few people know, but I mean, obviously, we've been talking recently. Ooze 2 is kind of in development. I've got some ideas around that.
And obviously, there's not that we haven't really announced it, but we've been messing about with some of your older games as well, haven't we? Just
we have
making a few changes, and ultimately, hopefully, at one point they'll see the light of day and people can enjoy them.
Yeah. If you go to my website, Patrick, www.bubblesoftgames.com, they're all there for free.
And what we're talking about is just the experiences of writing these games and why we kind of get into it, and the ups and the downs, really, of that. I think we could actually touch on that as well. I mean, we're going to talk about doing some coding, and we will get onto that. But I might as well touch on this because it does kind of feed into it. What I said earlier about, you put a lot of time and a lot of effort into a game, and it's a nice feeling, isn't it, when you get to that point where you release it.
Yeah.
And then obviously you get a lot of feedback, and some people find bugs, and other people are like, wow, this is great. And just for a week or so, it's like releasing a record, isn't it, or something like that. You get that
5 minutes of fame.
Yeah, something like that. Well, there's a certain. I'm not going to say it's adrenaline, but it's a sense of achievement, isn't it? Right, and it's
absolutely,
and it's a sense of, you can kind of bask a little bit in that, right, where you feel, yeah, wow, I did it. I got another game done. There was a lot of headaches. There was a lot of ups and downs, and people don't always appreciate how much of that there is, right? Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, but and that's the reason why I really went strongly on people publishing like the whole walkthrough of the game on the day of the game's release.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Because most people were like, well, I don't care, it's not a problem, just don't watch the video or whatever, right? But you got to remember, it's spoilers, isn't it? That's what it is. It's kind of that's how it feels as a writer, as you create the game. It's kind of spoilers. It's like, oh well, let's just show the whole game.
Yeah.
And that's why I really pushed for people to kind of get behind that and say, look, I know probably the majority of people don't really care one way or another, but the fact is that people write these games and they spend a long time writing them.
Yep.
And there's a walk, they they want to have, give them a couple of weeks, let them feel like people are puzzling through and everything else. Don't just show the whole game on within 1 or 2 days. As Patrick's saying there, show some footage if you want to help, if you want to promote, because that's the argument. They say, "Oh, I'm promoting the game," right? And this is it. Yes, promote the game. Fantastic. We love it. It's great that you do that. But don't just publish the whole thing, because it's like, I don't know any authors that want people to do that. And
part of the fun, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it's a little bit of a callback, to the 80s when the games came out. Yes, there would be a map, and yes, there would be pokes and everything else, but there'd be at least a month, because it was it was magazines in those days, right?
Yeah.
So you had that time where there was an element of mystery and novelty, and it's like, it just immediately you just feel, oh, someone's finished the game. And even the other thing that I don't like about it is that they do it, and they use like, RZX playback or whatever, and then oh, look, you can finish the game in 9 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not. You don't finish the game in 9 minutes. You spend quite a few hours working out how to finish the game in 9 minutes. I mean, I can finish Attic Attack in like 6 minutes. Doesn't mean I haven't. I mean, I didn't just do that on the first go, right? It took ages.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, right? Figuring it out as well. And one other thing I'd like to point out as well, because some people might sort of point fingers at me and say, "Oh, Alan, it's just sour grapes, and why just let people do what they want or whatever." But you see, the funny thing is, I don't even have a game that has a walkthrough, because I release these arcade games.
Yeah, harder to do.
It's not. That's not the reason. I mean, I like the arcade games, right? The point is, there isn't a walkthrough for arcade games, really. Generally, I mean, there was one for Terrapins, but there isn't really. The point I'm making is that I'm because of the way that I've kind of developed AGDX, and because of the people that I know, because of the fact that I communicate with a lot of other authors, and I generally kind of share my stuff with other authors and creators, and one of the things I like to do is help creators to kind of develop their games more and get and improve them and polish them and that kind of thing. I've kind of in some ways developed a sort of well, I'm not going to say guru reputation, but I feel some sense of mentorship. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
And that's something that I really enjoy. And so when I was being critical of that, I was really kind of just speaking up on behalf of other authors, really, because from my point of view, a walkthrough of Terrapins or Jetpack RX or whatever, it's not really, there isn't really a narrative there. It's not something that massively bothered me, but I knew that it was something that other authors weren't crazy about, but perhaps didn't necessarily have the standing, or something. It's a small community, and it's not like I'm some great representative of the community, but within the scene itself, I'm fairly well known, so I'm able to kind of raise my voice a little bit on behalf of other people.
Yeah.
So
no, it was good. I haven't seen it happen much.
No, people have seemed to have kind of respected that suggestion that was like, just give it a couple of weeks. And then do it, because it's just a nice thing for the authors, to know that people are trying and trying to figure things out. And anyway, I'm just reading what Patrick is saying there. He says, you have to buy the magazines, and he did a walkthrough of the Wild Bunch, And well, the thing is, Patrick, those old games, there's no complaints there at all. Look, those are old games from years back, and people are often looking for walkthroughs for those, right? People want to kind of get an idea of what the game's like, and also maybe they get stuck or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, when you write now, if I'm sure you'd be quite happy if somebody got stuck in Ooze and they can go online and they can watch a walkthrough and say, I didn't know, I hadn't done it that way, and whatever. It was never about like, don't show the whole game. It was more like, just give us a couple of weeks to enjoy the release.
I think it was Nixie 1. I posted up on several groups, this is Nixie, and it's released. And I think the second post that somebody put up was a poke for Infinite Lives.
Yeah. It's like a race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost like who's going to be the first one to do it. It's like on the YouTube videos where someone has to write first. It was me,
And I mean that really annoyed me, because it's like you haven't even, all you've done is probably loaded up the game, found the poke, and I think even at that point it may have just been a natural poke for AGD.
Yeah, because if you used lives, then yeah.
Oh well.
I'll tell you one thing, but it didn't actually work. It didn't actually work in the end. But when I did, I just thought I'd have a bit of fun, and I did when I was doing the Perils of Willy, right? I thought, well, let's put a little trick in there if somebody tries to do a poke, So there was like, normally if you look for a poke, you're looking for like the thing that decreases the number of lives, like it'll be decreased number of lives, and then you'll just change that code to a 0. That's why so many pokes are address, 0, yeah?
Yeah.
So it means don't decrease the lives, essentially. And so I thought, all right, well, let's put a little trap in there just for fun, just to see what happens. And so within the code there is a small detection to see if that address had been poked, right?
Okay.
And if it had been poked, if it had been 0, yeah, then it made Willy's jump 1 pixel shorter than it should be.
Nice.
So it made the game, just certain things in the game were just impossible or really hard, but felt like you could do it, but it wasn't actually possible. So I just had this idea, like, people, if they issued this poke, people are going to do that, and then they're going to they're going to get a little kickback from me, just a bit of fun, really. But as it turned out, more fool me, because in the end the poke was just for the number of lives instead of the infinite lives.
Right.
So they released a poke for number of lives instead.
I'd like to do it so that if it realised that it poked the game, that you don't get the ending. Rather than say, well done, you finished the game, it just goes, you've cheated.
Yeah. Well, indeed. Well, I'm pretty sure, Manic Miner did that, There's if you use the poke or the cheat mode, when you get right to the end to collect the last item, it doesn't give you the ending.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't even remember what the ending is now, but I think it's there's an image of I know it's some kind of a pun. It's like a fish and a dagger, and it's I can't remember what the pun is, but it basically means that you've cheated or something.
Cheated.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of like Easter eggs and things. I mean, that one's that's a kind of rotten Easter egg, isn't it? But anyway, it didn't work in the end. Do you ever put any Easter eggs in your games?
Have I put Easter eggs in my game?
I think have you not put a reference to one of your previous games in one of your later games? I think you have done that, right? Am I right?
Trying to think.
Maybe not.
Don't know if I have.
No?
Don't think I have. I know I was going to.
Right, yeah, that's
I
what I
was going.
thought.
I was going to do something with ooze. There's a bit at the end of ooze when you're escaping from up the lift shaft,
Yeah.
and there's a room halfway up the lift shaft on the left, and there was going to be something in there. But I think I ran out of memory, and I couldn't
Right.
do it.
Right, I see.
Um, ooze was God. I think I was down to something like 93 bytes left.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. I've been down to 2 bytes once.
I think that would be. I found if you go below a certain threshold, you start introducing dodgy blocks.
Yeah, yeah. Things like it. Yeah, especially well in the original one for sure. I'm not sure if I
Yeah.
managed to fix that or not, but yeah. Anyway,
Maybe that's something I'll think about doing for whatever game it is I do next. I've got so many on the go.
well, listen. Why don't you tell the chat here about some of those? Because I'm just going to pop to the loo. I'll be back in
Yeah.
just a second. All right.
Cool. Okay, mate. Yeah. So with and you can probably hear my cat meowing. Um, so I've got Ooze 2 on the go, and I'm playing around with some new ideas for that. So hopefully that will see some movement soon. Alan's been helping me out a lot with that. We've introduced a few new um, like modifications to AGDX, which has streamlined like the amount of sprites that I need to use for that. Um, so I don't need to do the flipped versions up and down. So that just means it gives me a little bit more memory to use for other stuff. I think Morris, it's going to be Ooze 2 next. Although Nixie 3 has been in development for probably the last year. That's got,
I'm
as I,
back,
like I
by the
said
way.
earlier, I like to add extra, new stuff into the game. So, Nixie and Nixie 2, there's a lot more like adventure stuff going on in Nixie 2 than there was in the first one. In Nixie 3, I think there was a hint of what Nixie will be able to achieve in the next game. That was at the end of the last game.
Was that with the wing? With the
The
wings? Was
wings.
it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Have I showed you that? Have I showed you what I've
Yes,
done with that?
yes, you did. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
That
sent
was
me
a while
the. You
back,
sent
was
me
it?
the. Yeah, it was indeed, and
Um,
we spoke about that. And I was saying that it'd be
yeah.
nice to get some kind of inertia or momentum into the feel of that.
It,
With the
yeah, it
it
would.
was just a little bit
Yeah.
floaty, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
But again, it's with AGD you're short on variables and you're a little bit short on maths and stuff as well. So it's not
Yeah.
always easy to achieve those
No.
things. But yeah,
And there were some issues with the flying and the jumping, which I still haven't fully resolved.
yeah.
But anyway, that'll get there.
Well,
Um,
you're always going to be you're kind of boxed in with AGD, aren't you? And you end up painting yourself into a corner. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I mentioned that we were working on those kind of remasters, and
Yes.
we definitely will get back to them, but just for the benefit of the few watching, we were working on these couple of remasters of Andy's Monty Mole games, and we will get back to them. But we just found that the AGD just couldn't quite do what we wanted to do. You know what I mean? to kind of, I mean, that's what I felt anyway. But I have to say, perhaps it was mostly me that felt that. But I just kind of thought, you know what, we've been pushing and pushing, and if we just kind of step back, maybe we could just do something with this without AGD, and it would be more, because I was just moving slowly away from AGD anyway, right? In terms of what I was writing and learning more.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was it's a kind of frustration then, because you go, well, you know what, I could do this so much easier if I did this, and you know, I was constantly compensating for things instead of just doing them properly, you know, so to speak,
in a more optimal way.
Yeah, I mean, like look, I've said already on this stream about AGD and what's great about it, and I think that is its sort of great achievement is to tick so many boxes on people's bucket lists, so to speak. You know, kind of tick off that for people, and it's great, and it's great that we have people that put out those games. And yes, people might complain about, oh, how can you put this out on a cassette? It only takes 10 minutes to complete or whatever. But it's not really about that, you know, and nobody's forcing anyone to kind of to buy them. But I do like to encourage people to put a bit more time in as well, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing, though, isn't it, as well, that we forget, is that it's a spare time thing, isn't it? You know.
Oh yeah.
We've all got jobs and partners and kids and pets and everything else. So it's yeah. Well, Sebastian's asking me about Shoot 'em Up kit. Shoot 'em Up Designer
never used
X.
it.
Well, I've used it a little bit, and it's not that dissimilar to AGD, but you know, Jonathan still has that on sale, and the source code is not available, and I don't imagine that Jonathan would want me tinkering about with it too much, so you know. Anyway, let's move over to the coding side of things, right? We'll have some fun with this. You got yourself set up with SJSM Plus, right?
I am set up.
And were you able to kind of compile a sort of binary or something?
I was. So everything is building, and obviously you've got to manually send it, but or drag and drop. But yes.
Cool. Well, let me just let me get an emulator up on the screen here. Just, for some reason, I've just opened it, but it's not appearing in the window. So, I understand now. It is in the window. It's just I'm looking at it on Twitch, and it's just a delay. Okay, so we've got the window there. That's good. Let's make it small adjustment. Okay, Sebastian. Sorry you have to go to bed just as the lesson is beginning. You know, I'm going to start teaching assembly now, but I guess you can watch it later. No problem.
Catch you later, mate.
Okay, sleep well. It's actually 3:20 here. We'll go for another 40 minutes. And no, don't worry about it. I'm my next class is at 2 p.m. So you know I can go to bed at 4 and get up at 2, or get up at 12. Sorry, it's just another 8 hours. It's not no different to anyone else really. Okay, so let's go right back to basics and run a very, very simple program, right? So we'll go to File New, right? And I will save it, and we'll call it I'll just call it simpledemo.asm, right? Now, incidentally, if you go to language settings, and perhaps I'll send this, but there's an option called user-defined language, and
Yes.
you can. I don't think Z80 is included, but there is a. You
Oh,
know.
I've got all that done. That's all sorted.
Okay, good. Did I mention that in the video as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so just for anyone watching, and obviously on the stream later, I have a series of videos based on the Usborne Books Guide to Assembly Language, and it talks about various things, how to get set up. So, yeah. So I think what we need to do is, I'll just copy it from here, right? So let's just work on the 48K for now, right? So we'll put device ZX Spectrum 48, right? That's the first thing.
Yep.
And for now, instead of making a tap, right, I'm just going to do a binary, right? So
So you can just change demo.bin to demo.tap.
well, no, what you do, you see here I've written output simple demo.bin, right?
Yeah.
I guess are you following me on Twitch here?
I am.
So
it's
you're
a little
going to
bit
be
behind.
it's going to be a bit behind, isn't it? So yeah, well we'll
I need to go full screen as well. So sorry guys, I'm not going to be able to look at the chat.
all right, well, not to worry. I'll keep you apprised. Yeah, well, we'll just have to try and wing it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So with with SGSM Plus, you can if you put this command in that says output, right? Then it'll just output a binary file, right?
Yeah.
So for example, then the other thing that we want to do is tell it which address in memory you want to start from. So I'm going to start it from org C000, which is 49152. That's the start of non-contended memory. It's kind of arbitrary, really, but it's a decent enough place to start, right? So let's just write something like this. So we'll put the 16-bit value 4000 into the HL registers. That is the top of the screen address, right? Top of the screen memory, the top left-hand corner, right? And then if we put the accumulator with 255, or in binary, you can use the percentage symbol for binary, right? So that would be like that, yeah? That's 255 in hex. It's 8 ones.
Yep.
Okay, and then we'll go load HLA, right? Which means put that value into that address. And then we'll just return, right? Like that. I'm not sure if Discord lets you share a screen. I don't know. Does it? Like we could. Perhaps it would be better if we next time if we did this, we would use
we should probably
use like Zoom or something.
Zoom would be better, wouldn't it? So why is HL in brackets?
Okay, right, yeah, fair enough. Let me go to that. Okay, so if you write load H with a number, right, or load HL with a number, in this case it's decimal, right? If you do that, then what you're doing is you're loading this absolute value into this register. Yeah?
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's behind by about 10 seconds.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's gonna be awkward, isn't it? Well,
yeah.
I tell you what we'll do. We'll try. Let's try this, right? I think, have we chatted on Zoom before? I'll put you on Zoom. Let me see. Can I sign it? Well, we'll see if I can put you on Zoom. Because then what I'll do is I'll just share the screen with you, right? And that screen will be on Otherwise,
Yes.
it's going to be tricky, isn't it? Right? You're never going to follow it very well, and it's not only going to be difficult for you to follow, but it's going to be difficult for the
Everyone.
stream, right? So we immediately. Although I can't remember my password for Zoom. Oh, maybe I'm using, just a second. If this works, then great. We'll just see. Bear with us, guys. We're just first time doing this, really. No, that didn't work. I don't remember my Zoom password, so I'm trying all kind of different ones that I've... Oh, I'm in. I remembered it. Okay.
Nice.
Right, so I should be able to go new meeting. And I'll send you an invite. Now, obviously, this will be limited to 45 minutes, but that should be fine.
Oh, yeah, should be enough.
Right, copy invitation, and then so I go to you on Discord.
Yep. I'm
getting very confused now. Just a minute. Where am I? I'm still in,
am I in
Discord? Am I on Twitch? Am I on Zoom? Am I on Facebook? What am I doing? I'm on five at once here, I think. I'm talking to you on Facebook, on Twitch, on Discord, and Zoom. Right, that's the chat for Discord. I'm trying to make this seamless, right? You got that link, right?
No.
That's in Discord.
Yep. I'm in Discord. I don't see.
Okay, I'll send it on Facebook. I'll send it on Facebook. There you go. Try that then.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, guys. So Andy's going to come off. We're going to come off Discord now, aren't we? In a minute.
Yes.
Okay. Once you're in Zoom. Are you in Zoom? Yes, it says.
I'm in Zoom.
Right, okay. So let's disconnect the Discord. Patience,
Although I don't
guys.
see anything. Yep.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. Right. So we'll end the call. I'm going to end the call now, so, don't panic. Okay. Can you still hear me? I need to join computer audio. Yep. How's that? Can you hear me? I can see my microphone's working.
I can't hear you.
Yep, I can hear you now. That's it. We're clear. You can't hear me. You just came in.
I think. Can you hear me, Alan?
Yes, I can hear you. Just a minute. In a minute.
Oh, you can hear me. I can't hear you. I think Zoom is overriding the.
Okay. Well,
the speaker.
just a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't see you on. I think I won't be able to see you on Zoom because you're on Twitch.
Really?
Zoom won't allow two things to use the camera.
Oh, I see. But can you hear me though? But you can't hear me either. But I could hear you on Discord though, and you could hear me.
Should we just go back onto Discord?
Just a second. All right, just bear with me.
I can see your screen.
Are we on Discord? Can you hear me now?
Ah, right. You stopped my video. No, I can see. I can see you on Zoom now. I can see your screen on Zoom,
Okay. Can you
and
hear
I
me?
can hear you now, and I can see you on Twitch. But obviously, we don't have me, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think we can live with that then. And can you see the code screen?
I can see the code screen. Yes.
Right. Okay. Good. All right. So, your question was, what do the brackets mean? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So, put it simply, you've got the Z80 processor with a very tiny amount of internal memory, right?
Yeah.
And that can hold 8-bit values, and those are called registers.
Yeah.
Each one can hold one single 8-bit value. And the main registers are A, which is the accumulator, B and C, which are regular registers, D and E, and H and L, right?
Yeah.
Now there is another set called the shadow registers. You know, like this is like the Jedi registers and the Sith registers, right? But don't worry about that right now. It's not that big a deal. But just it's something where you can swap between one and the other, right? But you don't need to know about it right now. For now, just get comfortable with these registers, right? You've got A, that's the accumulator, B and C, and D and E and H and L, right?
Yeah.
And these are what we call register pairs, right? Each one of these can hold an 8-bit number, but you can also join them together, and then this one would be the high byte and this one would be the low byte of a 16-bit number, right? So you see HL here, right?
Yeah.
So what I've done there is exactly the same as doing this, right?
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you can, so if you can use what you do with 16-bit numbers, primarily what you do is you use it for addressing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what you've got memory, and you've got internal memory, which is registers, and then you've got the external memory, which is the RAM, right?
Yeah.
And every point in the RAM is addressable. You give it a number, and then the CPU will read from that number, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there are two. Look, I'm not an expert on the technicalities of this, but you've got what's called an address bus and a data bus, right? And the address bus is 16-bit, and it can carry addresses. And the data bus is 8-bit, and it carries data, 8-bit data, right?
Yeah.
So, when you poke something, you've got an address and you've got a value, and it's like you've got the address for where you want to send a letter or a package, and then you've got the package itself, right?
Yeah.
So, when you're dealing directly with the registers, when you want to put values into the CPU internal memory, yeah, you do not use brackets, right?
Okay.
And you're not actually using a bus either, because it's directly to the machine itself, to the CPU itself, right? And that's why it's faster.
Yeah.
Right. So everything that you do takes up a certain amount of time. These things are very, very tiny amounts of time, but these, of course, take up. This is an 8-bit load to one single register. That takes up a certain amount of time, and this one would be loading 2 8-bit values, so it's a little bit slower, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you remember I said that this load HL for like this, yeah, is the same as this, right? Just the same. It's the same as that.
Okay.
Right. The difference is that this one would take 3 bytes, and this one would take 4 bytes. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because what you've got is you've got a command, you've got like an instruction. This instruction is 1 byte, and then you've got 2 values. So that's 3 bytes, right? Whereas here you're doubling up. You've got an instruction with a byte, and then you've got a second instruction and a byte. So that would be 4 bytes, yeah?
Yep.
And additionally, this one is just a little bit quicker than this one.
Okay.
Yeah, just simply because it's you're doing it in one step instead of 2.
2. Yeah.
Right. I think it is anyway, right? So, and those things there. What we're describing effectively is the 2 things that you're often thinking about when you're coding. Just cleaning my glasses. One is how much space is the machine gonna, how much space is the memory we're gonna use up, and also how fast is it gonna be.
Okay.
And those 2 things are always, you're always balancing those 2 things. I'm just gonna just have a quick look to make sure that everything's all right on the online. How are we doing, guys? In the chat, is everything good? You guys following along? Yeah, I don't know. I can't see. I'm gonna hope so. I guess so. I had so many different things open, but it's all working now, so that's the main thing. Can you just say something for me, Andy? I just want to check the levels as well. Oh yeah, it's fine. It's all
hello.
Yeah, good. Okay. So you can also. So what we're doing here is this is like, we're putting a hard absolute value into a register. Simple as that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then of course you can also do, say for example, you can do this, right? Load LH. So that means copy what's in L to H, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So sorry, what's in H into L, I should say. I beg your pardon. Right? Load the L register with the value of whatever's in H. Yeah?
Yes.
So HL, what is now in HL if I did that?
If you did that, it would be $40.40.
Exactly. Good. Yeah. Easy enough, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're working within the internal memory, the registers, yeah, you can do things like this, right? You can load any register with a value, right?
Yes.
With any of them, right? Load B this, load H this, right?
Yeah.
And you can also do that with register pairs. So you can go load BC, and then you can do 2 values, right? Like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can do that with DE, and you can do that with HL.
Okay.
Right? But you can't do something like load BD, right?
BD,
That ain't gonna work, right? Because they're not paired.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's how
There's
you.
a name for that, isn't there? What's that name that's called for that? Something pairs.
Register pair.
Is it register pairs?
Yeah, these are register
Okay.
pairs. Yes. Yeah, not conference pairs. Register pairs. So that's how you. And then as I said, there is also any combination, whatever combination you want, you can copy one from one register to another, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and because of the way that the machine, the way that the instructions are set up within the CPU, it means that it's actually also possible to do things like this, right? I think I'm not sure about that one, but I'm pretty sure you can actually do that as well. I'd have to check the reference to see.
What would that do?
Well, it doesn't really do anything, but it's
No.
what it can. I mean, you can potentially use it for kind of causing a short delay, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
I'm just gonna quickly check that because it might not. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's perfectly possible. Certainly load AA. I don't know about load BB. Yes, yeah, that's there as well. Well, what it is if you imagine the instructions, they're all laid out in a sort of grid, and the way that the CPU reads them is such that it's a little bit like imagine if you make a table. Let's say, for example, if you do like the Premier League, right, and you show all the matches, who's played who, right?
Yes.
And it's all in a grid. Well, you're gonna get a grid where it says Man United versus Man United, right?
Yeah.
And you just won't use it, but there's still going to be a space there, right?
Yeah.
And that's basically what that is.
Okay.
It's like it's not really. Look, I imagine on the forums somebody might say, "Oh, there is a use for this," or whatever. I don't know. Other than using it to cause a slight delay.
Yes.
I don't know what you would use it for, but I guess that's the only thing. But yes, you can do that, but it's not really needed. But any combination, if you want to move a value from one to another, then you can do it, right? And that's really important because the A register is the only one that you can, with more or less the only one that you can do that you use for maths.
Okay.
Right, like adding and subtracting and things, right? So it's basically the accumulator is like the workhorse. It's the one everything else kind of has to go through it in terms of maths and everything else, right?
Okay.
So, what you might find is that, let's say, if you had a value of 3 in the accumulator, yeah, and then you wanted to do, let's just think of a fairly simple example. Let's say that you had 3 lives, or something like that, but you wanted to show it as a life bar or something, right? So,
yeah,
what you might do then is you would say, okay, let's multiply it by we'll use this. This is a simple way of doing it, right? Let's multiply it by 8. Yeah.
Okay.
There are other ways of doing it, but you can see what I mean here. This is just add A to A,
which would
become 3 would become 6, and then do it again, it would become 12, and do it again, it would become 24, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so at that point, then A is going to be 24. But supposing you then wanted to do something else with the number of lives, yeah, but you've now lost your original value, right? So a common thing that you might do is if you've got a spare register that you can use, you might do something like this. Take a copy of that value.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Then do some calculations. Right.
Yeah.
And then store that in another register.
Yeah.
and then give me the original one back again, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what you do that all the time.
Okay.
So you're always looking. It's always like little pigeonholes. You're like, oh, I need to put that in there, put that in there, put that in there, right?
Okay. Is there a multiply?
Sorry.
Is there a multiply?
Multiply essentially is addition with a loop.
Okay.
Right. Although, unless it's in factors of 2. Times 2 times 2, right?
Right.
We can look at that a little bit later. Let's not worry about it for
Right.
now. Yeah, multiplication and division are essentially just addition and subtraction repeated, right?
Okay. Right.
I mean that's a mathematical principle, not just a Z80 principle. You know, like 2 times 6 is just 2 added to itself 6 times, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, very important key principle: working as much as you can within the internal registers, because that is the fastest thing that you can do, because you're not going to be using a bus.
Okay.
Yeah. As I said to you before, you know, use it as soon as you use the bus, as soon as you address memory, it's like you're cooking a dinner and you've got to go down the shops and get something that you forgot or something like that, right? Ideally, you want to set everything up that you need, all the ingredients, whatever, in those registers, all the numbers that you might need to access. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, so for example, if you're going to show a sprite, yeah, you want to put in like the source address and the screen address and maybe a counter for how many lines you're going to draw, right?
Okay.
And so what you do is you set all of that up in the registers, and then you just run through it within the CPU itself, because then you're not going to have to go to memory as often. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So you'll still be reading and writing to memory, of course, but it's just it's going to be easier if you've set yourself up that way. That's the basic principle, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's now talk about using the bus, addressing the memory, writing and reading to and from the memory, right? That's when the brackets come in, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing, with the accumulator can grab a value. This is another power of the accumulator that the other ones don't have, is that it can grab a value from memory directly into itself, and it can write it directly as well, right?
Yes.
And now what I mean by that is literally like the actual address, right? So you can go load A, for example, and then here like C000, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically like a peak.
Yes.
Yeah. And a poke is just the same thing, but it's the other way around.
The other way around. Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
Okay. No, I get that.
Get that, right? Good. Now, there are two other ways that you can do this, right? One is that you can put a value into an address, into a register pair like that, right? And then you can.
I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, have we something happened on Zoom? Hello? Oh yeah, something happened with my mic. Hello, is that better?
Can you guys hear me?
Just a minute. Can you hear me now? Let me check the OBS. Am I back? I'm still here working. I can see it on OBS. One, two. Can you hear me?
So you guys can still hear me. I just can't hear Alan anymore.
Oh yeah, you've gone really loud. Can you hear me now? Okay, just a second. I'm just trying to reconnect with Andy. So seems like I've got some connection problems here. In fact. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I still live? I'm not even sure if I am now. Seems like I am, but I'm not. I can't seem to contact. It's telling me I don't have internet now, which is weird. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me, Andy? Yeah, thank you, Mitsuyama. That's good to know.
Yeah, I just can't hear Alan, so I can't hear what he's telling me to do.
I can hear you now, though, Andy. I just can't get Facebook for some reason.
I wonder if it's... Hold on a minute.
Hello, Andy. I just can't get Facebook for some reason. Oh, did you hear me then?
Oh, that's weird. I can hear you. If I turn off my my headphones, I can hear you.
That's very weird. I'm back on Facebook now. Did you...
Oh my God.
I think the internet went down here.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
You're just coming through the speaker of the laptop rather than headphones.
Right. Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
I think... Yeah, we sort of opened a door into another dimension by having too many social medias on at the same time. Right, so...
The stream stopped now, I think.
I'm not sure. Look, did you receive the Twitch link, the Switch link? The guys on the stream are saying that they can still see me and hear me.
No. Oh, hold on. Ah.
Did you get a Zoom link? Yep. Okay, and I'll turn the video on the...
We've got that weird lag again.
Yeah. Okay. Are we still on Discord? Okay, I'll call you back on Discord. Can you hear me? Andy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, listen, mate, I've just noticed that Discord does allow you to screen share. So let's drop Zoom.
Okay.
Because it's just getting complicated.
Too complicated.
Right, you can hear me now on Discord, right? Can you hear me?
I think I'm just hearing you on Twitch.
Ah. That's weird, because it says... Ah, just a minute.
Oh.
Right, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just don't know what it's on at the minute.
Okay, well, as long as you can hear me, that's the main thing. But you're responding to me as though you can hear me immediately after I've spoken, right?
Yeah, I think what we're doing is because we've got Twitch and Twitch has got the lag.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to get that loop.
Okay.
There
Well,
you
I
go.
think we're back.
No, we've got that loop.
Well, I can't hear. What do you mean a loop? What you want to do, right, is put Twitch on mute. Yeah? You still hear me? You just test. Yeah. Yep. Can you hear me? This is time to make a brew. That's what I say. No. Okay. How come you can't hear me right now on Discord, Andy? Though, is that the case? Oh, you're on mute on Discord. We'll get back very shortly, I'm sure. He's unmuted. Can you hear me now? No, he's still muted. Now he's unmuted again. It's amazing technology, isn't it? But it's also quite frustrating.
How do you mute Twitch?
Yes, I can hear you. Yep, I heard you then.
It's amazing technology.
Now that's on Twitch, Andy. What you're hearing there is on Twitch. You need to mute the Twitch. He's muted on Twitch and Discord. Well, just unmute yourself on Discord. Or I mean, if I mute, I don't think I muted you, did I? No, it says you're not muted. Okay, well, you know, what you do is you're just gonna mute me on the. If you look on Twitch, you'll see there's like a screen, obviously with me on it and everything, and at the bottom in the left-hand side, there is like a volume control, and just click the volume control, and it will go to 0.
Right.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Like the third time I've used this.
It's all right. Don't worry about it, mate. I think some kind of internet dropped out somewhere then, because I couldn't on Facebook. I couldn't get anything. It was Central Asian internet. That's what it is. I mean, it's anyway. We've eliminated Zoom from the equation now, right? So let's try. We're back now, guys. They're a patient bunch, aren't they?
I still think we're going to have a lag though on the screen, aren't we?
No, because I can share with you.
Okay.
I can screen share with you the this. Got it? I can't hear you now though. Can you hear me now, Andy?
I can hear you.
And can you see the screen?
I can see the normal Twitch screen.
No, but look on your Discord.
Yeah, there was nothing there. Hold on. Nothing there. Oh, there. Sorry. Yeah.
You got it, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so we're on Discord talking with a shared screen. And the other guys are watching us. So it's all clear now. Yeah? Cut out again though, mate. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so is that all clear now? Should we? Can we?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying here, we got. Where did we get to? Load HL 4000. You can see that here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's loading that address into those two registers, right?
Yeah.
And then you can use that register pair to behave in the same way as though it was an address with that value in it.
Yeah.
And it's now addressable there like that, and that will be quicker. You see, load HLA.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I can also, if I could go increase. Inc means increase. Inc HL, which means HL would then be that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I could do the same thing again.
Okay.
And that would do it twice. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And in fact, slightly quicker, because I know this is 0, right? And when you increase HL, it would go like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then eventually it would get to FF.
Yeah.
And then once it got to FF, that would go back to 0, and that would go to 1, right?
1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But since we know we're at a low number there, we don't actually need to worry about.
You could just go in Inc L.
Yeah. Now bear in mind though that if you do that, it's going to do this. It's going to go like this, and then it's going to get to FF, and then it's just going to go back to 4000, right? Because you haven't included H in your instruction.
Sure.
But often you will do that because that is a lot quicker than that, because it doesn't check for the carry, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean by a carry? It's like it's moving to the bigger number, so to speak, right? And carry is going to be important later on, but yeah, just like that, right? So you can do that, assuming that we've put a value in the accumulator, right? We don't know what that is, but if we put that binary value in like that, right?
Yeah.
As we did there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, you can also read from that value by doing this, yeah?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Just like that, right? And you can do that with the accumulator. Again, most things go through the accumulator, right? So you can do that with this, and you can do that with this as well, yeah?
Okay.
Got it? Clear?
So you're putting the 16-bit number into the accumulator there.
I'm reading from a 16-bit address.
Okay, right.
It's in brackets,
gotcha.
yeah. You can't.
You
can't do that. You can't do that because you can't put a 16-bit number into the accumulator because it's an 8-bit accumulator.
Sorry, yeah. So the brackets is the actual memory address.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Read the 8-bit number that is held at that address.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is stored in there, right? So that's it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Clear. Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and just so you know, A is like the kind of workhorse of the 8-bit registers, right? And HL is kind of like the workhorse of the register pairs, because you can, like, as I said before, you can't do for example this, right? You can't put B into DE. You can't read the address at DE directly into B, yeah? logically you would think you can, but the instruction doesn't exist. So instead, you have to do it like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
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 We did that before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But HL is more flexible because you can use HL to do that.
Okay.
Right? But only HL you can do that. HL is the only register pair that there are certain functions that only HL can do. Right?
Okay.
One of them, for example, is you can do things like this with HL. You can do this, right? You can double it, and that's a 16-bit double. But that's the only register you can do that with. And you can also do. It's also possible to do something like, I think it's this one, and that will subtract the DE from HL, and then HL looks like it. Yeah, I mean it actually it's subtract with the carry. I won't go into it now, but just understand that HL is a bit more flexible than the others.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of the time, you will spend a lot of the time just moving numbers around from one to the other, just trying to make sure that you've got everything in little pigeonholes that you can use and swap them about and do things like this, right? And quite often you'll be always looking for one spare register to use.
Yeah, I can see that already.
You just move it to the, okay, just stick it over there for a minute and then give me that one.
Yeah.
And then I'll add that to this, okay, get that result, stick that over there, then bring this one back, and and when we talk about optimization in assembly, that's often what you'll do is you'll try and find a more efficient way of moving the numbers around, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I say it's a little bit like a number puzzle or a Sudoku or something like that.
It's also a bit like trying to, you got in AGD, you got your PMA, your PMA, PMB, opt.
Yeah.
And whatever.
And you start
trying to move it around.
Yeah. You start using them as temporary storage, right?
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it. Everything in the internal Z80 register is basically temporary storage.
Okay.
Right? Because it's not in memory.
Yeah.
Right? And the ULA, the partner chip to the Z80, is reading memory and outputting to the screen.
Yeah.
Right? And anything that is going to get to the outside world is going to have to leave the CPU.
Yes.
And it's going to have to go either through a port, right? Or into memory.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the calculations internally, you do all your results, everything like that, keep it inside the CPU, and that's fast. And then when it's done, then you put it out into the world, right?
Okay.
Simple as that, right? So that's pretty straightforward, right? So let's go back to our original code.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we had. This is the address at the top of screen memory.
Yeah.
Which is the top left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Okay. So, given what everything that we've covered, do you now understand what that does?
Yes. It draws a line at the top of the screen on the left-hand side.
Yes. Well, basically, the screen is made up of the screen memory. Let's be absolutely clear, because the answer is not that it draws a line at the top of the screen, although that is the result. Yes, that's the final end result. Will be a line at the top of the screen. What it actually does, if we go through it step by step, is it takes the value, this value here, and puts it into screen memory, right? And then later, then the ULA will read that address, and then it will convert that ultimately to a video signal that will cause that line to appear, right?
Okay.
So, and the screen is full of these little tiny sort of lines, if you like, that have got 8 pixels.
Yes.
The screen is made up of those, right?
Yep.
32 of those across and 192 of those down.
Yes.
Right. So often when you see certain graphic effects and everything, they're often made up with these little sort of lines, aren't they? Right, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, I mean the thing that what I was saying to you the other day about it seemed like it was. I think I increased the address to, I forget what it was now, but I said it looks like it's putting the line in the same place. Well, obviously it wasn't, and it was putting it in the same column, but a row of pixels down from 16834.
Yeah. Well, let's play about with this simple routine.
Yeah.
And we can get an idea about how the screen memory works, right? I mean, time is ticking on. I don't want to spend too much more longer because I've got to get to bed. But if we can get to the point where we just get something on screen and show people a little bit about the way that works, then I think that would be enough for people to get a start. So hopefully, right? Can you see that? Can you see the execute command come up, or you don't see that?
I don't see that,
right.
but
Okay, well, not to worry. You know what it is, right? And we've got no errors, and it says file. There's a file now called simpledemo.bin, right?
Yep.
Now, I can then load that into Spectaculator, right? You can't. I guess if you look on Twitch, you'll see that you'll catch up with it in a minute, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna go to Spectaculator and I'm gonna open simpledemo.bin and I'm gonna tell it the address that I want to load that binary in, and I'm gonna load it in at 49152. Right? And then I'm gonna use randomize USR 49152, and all that does within BASIC is it causes the program counter, which tells it where to execute code. It puts that address into the program counter, and it will then run the code that we've just loaded, right? Yep, clear enough. So if I do that, we'll get that line that you mentioned, and there it is. And obviously we'll wait for you to catch up, but that's it, right? So that's the top corner, and that's address 4000, right? Easy enough. Now let's just we'll do a couple of simple little things just to show people. Right, we got the pattern here, 11111, right? So we'll just change that pattern. Right, like that.
Yep.
Okay, and then we'll run it again. And Spectaculator is pretty good because you can just run the same code again. And I don't know if
I have a question.
Yeah.
So on your screen, you've got the machine code actually being displayed on the left-hand side. How do you get that?
Okay, just a second.
Yep.
Let me come back to you. So what I've done, by the way, is I've created a very simple basic program that just runs that code. That means I can run it each time without having to type randomize user 49152 every time. Okay, Frozen, Richard, nice to see you again. Hope to see you again. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up in a few minutes anyway, mate. So you won't miss much. Are you talking about this where I can see this this text? Now,
yeah, so like on line 7, you've got C000.
Yeah. Well, what that is, it's in the it's an additional command in the executable. I'll show you, just a second. You know when you execute the code?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you.
Okay.
It's like I've got I'm guessing that you can't see it, but I'm hoping that I can send it to you on the Discord. Right? Can you see that? On Discord. Sorry, stream.
Yes, in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, stream. I'm not sharing this, but it's just a couple of additional commands to the assembler, and
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
It'll be a little bit tangential if I start talking about it too much. But basically, all it is can you see where it says execute the file name? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it says -- list and then namepart.txt. So it tells it and create an output of using the same name but as a text file, and then MPP open. It means open it.
Gotcha.
Right. So when I run the code, and the stream can see that when I assemble it, I then get this output, and that actually
you get the text.
And this is helpful because it shows me this is the memory. This is what it's actually created, and you can see the actual instructions in the machine format there.
Yeah, that's cool.
In the actual thing, so you can see what you're doing, right? So you can see the way this works. You've got this one 2.1 here. That's load HL.
Yeah.
And then it loads,
HL,
it loads lower first, followed by the higher number.
Yeah.
And this one AA, that's just this value, and then this one is a single instruction, and this one's a single instruction.
Yeah.
Right. So it's as simple as that, and there's no errors, and I can see that it all works. And now if I run this, you can see the stream will catch up. You'll catch up with it. But now if you run it, you'll see you've got these dotted lines. It's a dotted line now because I've changed it right here. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if I want to go across, and again, you'll remember from when screens load, you can go across. You increase the low byte by 1, right? And then we'll repeat, right? Rinse and repeat. Go to the next address, and then do it again, right? So, and then we'll go back to Spectaculator and run that code. We'll load the binary, and then we'll just press run. And now, as you can see, now we've got 2 lines, or the line is longer. Yeah. All good?
Yep.
Okay. Now, let's go to I'm going to go to 401F. So what that is, the reason I'm changing this address is we're going all the way across, and 1F in decimal is 31, right?
Yep.
So that is gonna we can use a semicolon to comment it out for now, right? So we won't do that second part, but we will bring it back in a minute. And if I now run it, okay, now run it and go back to the stream. And I know, as I said, you can't do this, but not to worry. It doesn't take long to catch up, does it?
No.
Right, we load it in and we run it, and then we'll get the same thing, but it's over on the right hand side. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now we come to the strange thing that is the Spectrum screen memory, right?
Yes.
Because if we go past 31 and we go on to the next line, you'll see that it goes, and we'll run it and we'll load it, and you'll see what happens, right? Okay. You'll see that it goes down to the next character.
Yes.
Right? It's not gone down a line, it's gone down a whole character, right?
Yeah. So this is how the loading screens work, right?
Exactly. Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. When you watch a loading screen loading, you'll see that it goes down line by characters, yeah?
Yeah.
By a gap of 8, yeah? And the reason for that is that you've got three segments, right?
Yeah.
And each one of them is made up of 256 characters.
Yeah.
So the low byte always corresponds to the character within the segment.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go from 0 to 31, you're gonna be in the first character line, yeah?
Yeah.
As soon as you hit 32, you're gonna be in the second character line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So and then once you get to 256, right, then you would be over there, and then obviously if you used ink L, it would go back to the top, and if you used ink HL, it would go to the next segment. Sorry, no, I beg your pardon. I don't think it would actually. It would go. It would. The way, as with loading screens, it would then go to the next line down. You remember how the loading screen loads? Well,
yeah.
If I show you that, you'll see. Anyway, that's what happens with it. If we're just going to work. Just imagine we're working only within the top segment, right? For now.
Yeah.
So we can address any character within that top segment by using. By changing L, right? So
yes,
there's 0 up here and 256 down there. Yeah?
Yeah.
32 across and 8 down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any address within that segment is going to be, we're going to use L, right? Now, of course, within the character, you've got 8 lines. Yeah? Within a character square.
Yeah.
It's not just the top one, is it? It's going to be there are actually 8 of them, right? So if I go back to here now, right, let's go back to the top of the memory again, that top corner, yeah, and instead of using ink L, I'm going to use ink H, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now instead of being at 40, so before when we did it, we went like that, right? But now we're going to go, instead we're going to go like that. Some of the windows cut off from the stream. Okay, Mitsuo, just give me 1 second. I'll tidy that up. Okay, yeah, that's better. Good. Thank you, my man, for pointing that out. Yes, okay. Yeah, good. Well, there you go. There it is. It's there now. It's visible. Thanks for calling that out. So yeah, just because of that, we printed up here, and then it went to the next. It went to the next line down, the next character line down, not the next line down, right? So when you're addressing this whole segment, there are 256 characters, and when you change the low byte from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and when it gets to 31, then it's going to go down to the next character line. That's the way that it's stored in memory. And that will keep going, and then each line you'll be 0 to 31, to 63, to 95, to 127, right? Just like that. In that segment. Let's go back to the code and do the same thing with the increase in the high byte and see what happens, right? Okay. So the first thing I'll do is we'll just go back to the original like that, and we'll run it like that, and then we'll just open it in Spectaculator, right, and run it one more time like this. Okay, just load the binary in is what I'm doing, and then I'll press run, and that's what we had before. You still with me, Andy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've gone to 41, but I've gone back to 4,000.
Yeah, I beg your pardon. That was my mistake. So yeah, that's what it should be, 4,000. Dope.
But yeah, I see what you mean. So yeah, so by incrementing H, we drop down a pixel line.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll just repeat that again, just for the benefit of the stream. I'll repeat that. It'd be interesting because when I do this, what you'll find is that I just printed at 4.1. I wrote to address 4100.
Yeah.
And if I now write to address, if you watch closely, you'll see that little thing will probably just move up 1.1 line.
It's moved up.
Yeah. Okay, so that's at the top. And if I now go to here, right? Let's see, we'll go like that. Okay, and we will run it. Again. load the binary, run it, and then now you see we've got 2 lines. And that's going down, and you can do that all the way down to for that character square, right? It's very much geared towards character squares, right? So you can, for within the character square, you can go from 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can fill a character, right?
Yeah.
So and just to demonstrate that, let's make it interesting, right? Let's do this, and we'll change it like this. We'll go increase H, and then we'll go like that, and then we'll change that so that it goes like that instead, right? No, we'll see. Yep. So that's like a checkerboard, right? Because you're going to have one value here, then you're going to have another one there. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, there is a command that will allow you to do that allows you to shift all the bits to the left or the right.
Okay.
And that's very powerful, and that's a form of multiplication as well, actually, right? But well, we might try that quickly and see if it works. But just let's do that first, right? We'll do that first. Okay. We'll run that one. Yeah, and you see now we've got that kind of checkerboard wavy pattern. It's almost like a dither, isn't it? Yeah, all clear?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I don't remember my rotation command, but I think we can go RRA like this. It means rotate to the right. Let's see if that works. Let's check it. Yeah, same effect. Okay, so you see this command here, RRA?
Yep.
That means rotate right, accumulator.
Okay.
And all that means is take this 0 and put it there.
At the end.
Right?
So is there an RL?
There is indeed, yeah. So, and that, as you might imagine, can be used for moving things around and stuff, right? But there are quicker ways of doing that, right? So you don't often use RRA because there's another command that's slightly quicker, specific to the accumulator. But RR can be used with RRB and C and the other registers as well. So it's quite handy for that reason. And bear in mind that, well, you can imagine, you know binary enough to know that, say, for example, that in binary is a 1, right?
Yep.
And that is a 2.
Yep.
And that is a 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so what's that? 4 plus 2 is 6, yeah. And look, this is 3.
Yeah.
And that is 6. And this one is 3. It's shifted across 1, right?
Yeah.
And shifting is multiplying by 2.
Yeah.
In that direction. And if it's in the other direction, it's dividing by 2.
By 2, yeah.
Right? And whatever number you've got here, if you've got, if you want to do like, 27 times 2, well, then you just put 20, you've got 27 in binary, and it's just going to get shifted. So RRA is going to, it's going to double. RRA is going to divide, it's actually going to divide the accumulator by 2, essentially. But it's also a shift.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And so what we can do, as you said, then we can go increase H again, right? And then we'll go RLA, and then we'll load HLA, right? Like that.
Yep.
Okay. And then we'll do that again. Okay, and we'll press yes. And then we'll load it. And then we'll run it. And there, you see now we've got 3 lines. Do you see that? You can try that out as well.
Yep.
Yeah?
There's massive lag on Twitch.
Oh, it's probably Kazakhstan. It's not very reliable, but... And so what I'll do now is I'll just repeat that a few more times, right? So rotate to the left, rotate to the right, back and forward. We'll do that a few times, and then we'll see what happens. There we go. And run. Right. So let me know when you can see the result now.
Yeah, I've got a full block on mine of shaded.
And then you've got, and can you see you've got another line there as well at the in the next segment? Right?
I haven't done that. Yeah, mine is a full set of 8 rather. So.
And yes, Mitsuyama, yeah, we can of course we can definitely use a loop. It's just I haven't taught Andy about loops yet.
No.
But we'll do that. I will do that to finish off, and we'll show you the result, and then we'll call it a night, I think.
Oh.
But what I wanted to do there was deliberately cause H to go above 4.7. So 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and then it goes to 4.8, right?
Yeah.
And once it,
but
when you
Alexa's so far on, my lights have gone out.
When you get to 4.8, you've jumped into the next segment.
16 hours and 38.
Right?
Yeah.
So what that tells you is that within this segment, you use values 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, 3, up to 7, right?
Yeah.
And that's your high byte, and then your low byte is 0 to 256, right? Or 0 to FF.
Yes.
And that covers that segment. And then the next segment starts from 48, 4.8. Yeah?
Yeah.
4.8, and it goes 4.8, 4.9, 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, 4E, 4F. And then the third segment will start at 5.0. I think that's right. Yeah. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and that's so when as I said to you in the chat, which obviously the Twitch wasn't party to, the stream wasn't party to, but often what you'll do when you're calculating where the next line down is, then you're going to check, am I in the character square? And if so, then go down, increase H by 1. Am I still in the same character square, right? Have I crossed over into, if I'm not in the same character square, then I need to add 32 to L, because 32 will take me down 1 character square.
Yeah.
And then if I've crossed over into a new segment, then I need to add 8 to H, because it's this one is 4.0, this one is 4.8, and this one is 5.0, right? See what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to finish up, let's do a loop, and we can talk about it maybe next time. But yeah, let's get rid of all of that. Right? We want to keep this part. Okay, so we want to keep load H, increase, rotate, load H, increase, rotate back, load H, increase, right? And then we want to loop back to there again. So this, we want to repeat this several times, right?
Yes.
I guess if we want to print a square, we actually want to repeat it 4 times,
Twice.
right? So
Cool.
yeah, let me just check. So load that value and then rotate. Load that value and then rotate. I guess, do we need that part there? Yeah, maybe we don't need that part. Yeah, that's it, right? So yeah, print it, increase, rotate. Print it, increase, rotate, and then go back to print it again, right?
Yep.
So that would be our loop. Now again, we don't use line numbers. Everything is addresses, but we can use a label to point to an address. So I'll just call it something like, char loop, right? And then I can reference now with a label. When you've got a label, that's just an address in memory. It's just a human readable address in memory. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can therefore you can do things like this, right? You could load that address into HL if you want to. See what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you can also read from that address into the accumulator. If it was data, right? It's not data, it's code.
Yeah.
But it's you see what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, we could talk about that next time. I could, for example, put that character, and we'll do that next time. We'll try how to print an actual full character on screen. We'll put it as data, and then we'll read it, right? But for now, let's just print this in as a loop. And what we need to do that is the simplest way of doing. There's lots of ways that you can do loops, but the simplest way is to use the special function of the B register. The B register has a command which allows it to be used for looping. So we want to print 4 lines, right? Because this prints 2 lines.
Yep.
Well, writes 2 lines to memory. So 4 times 2, that's 8, right? So that's that. And then we use this command, which looks obscure, but it's
TJNZ?
Yes. So that means decrease and jump if not 0, right?
Yep.
And it refers specifically to the B register.
Okay.
Right? It's this command is specifically used with the B register. The B is used as a count down, right? It's a down counter, right?
Okay.
So there are other things you can do. You can use other registers, because there are flags which are triggered that you can check when something hits a 0. But this is an easy one to learn at the beginning before you learn about flags, because it just means decrease and jump if B is not 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. So decrease B and jump if the result is not 0. So we'll go 4 and it'll go. Okay, starts with 4, then it goes, okay, it's 3, do it again, okay, it's 2, do it again, okay, it's 1, do it again, okay, it's 0, don't do it anymore, and it'll have done it 4 times.
Yep.
Okay. So, we'll just run it like this. And, we've got invalid label name there. That's interesting.
No, I don't.
Right, it's probably something to do with mine.
Oh.
Don't know why I've done. Why? I wonder why I've got that. That's strange. I'll change it to C loop. Yeah, Mitsuyama's asking if I can just get away with keep rotating right, and yes, actually, you're probably right. I probably can. There's many different ways of
actually can.
doing things. Yeah. Well, this is, as I said. I mean, bear in mind that I'm not coding this for efficiency. I'm coding it for educational purposes, right? To teach you the stuff. So, in fact,
but that would only work. that would only work because we're using 010101. If we were using something else, it wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't understand why I'm getting an elite.
Yeah, that is weird, isn't it?
Invalid name. What have I done wrong there? That's weird.
I've done it exactly how you've put it in there, and mine works fine. It's not because you've got a space at the bottom, 18 and 19, is it?
Don't think so. No, that they would just ignore that. Well, yeah, no. Yeah, Mitsuyama spotted it. Look, it's a typo. It was just a typo, and I was looking at line 9, and it's actually an error on line 9, not line 10.
Yeah.
Yes, well spotted, Mitsuyama. Molodets, as we say in Russian, which means good lad. Right. So, good. Listen, I'm happy when little mistakes like that happen because it's all part of the learning process for people. So, yeah, typos will cause problems. But there, and then that should give us the same result. So we'll try loading it, and we'll go there, and then we'll go run, and there it is. Good, right? And then let's do exactly what Mitsuyama said, right? Let's just keep rotating because it'll go in a loop anyway, right? So all we need to do is
B to 8.
We can change that and just get rid of that, right? And it's just going to keep rotating it because it's a set pattern, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do that. Do it one more time, and we'll see if that works. Because I'm not increasing HL probably. What's my mistake? Yes, sorry. We'd need to have a loop of 8, wouldn't we?
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm only doing it once now. I'm not sure why I got that little bit of corruption there though.
The line? Yeah.
Again, probably some kind of a. Interesting, huh? Yeah, so I think what we're doing here is, and again, I don't use RRA that often, but it's probably something to do with. So it says, if you use RRA, the contents of A are rotated right 1 bit. The contents of bit 0 are copied to the carry, and the previous contents of the carry are copied to bit 7. Right, so essentially, this is not something I necessarily wanted to get into right now, but basically what we've done here, is we've the carry flag is like a 9th bit.
Okay.
And we've ended up involving that 9th bit in our equation here. So yeah, I was trying to avoid that. That's probably why I was using RLA and RR. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
We'll have to. Yeah, we'll talk about the carry bit in a future episode, I guess. Hang on a second. There might be a way of I'm sure there is a way of doing it without the carry. So. This is where you need David, because David's the master of all of this sort of shifting and rotating. By the way, there's something else called shifting, which is basically it just kind of shunts it to the left or the right, and it doesn't rotate it, right?
Right.
Okay, I think we'll use rotate into the carry. Let's try that, see if it makes any difference. So we can use RR. There's all kinds of different ones that you can use, but let's try RRC, right? Just see if that works. I always get confused with these. I rarely use them, you know, so let me see if that does the job. Yeah, okay, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask me to explain. No, I can explain. The most common rotation that you use is this one. It's called RRCA, and it's quicker, and it involves the carry, which we'll talk about at another time, but it basically rotates. And it doesn't and the carry bit gets moved over, so yeah. But just out of interest, let me just show you another sort of example. So you go, let's go 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, right? And we'll put that in, and then we'll run it. I actually got my RRCA and my RRA mixed up then. But anyway, yeah. Do you see how we get that pattern and why? You'll see it come up in a minute. Can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that clear as to why that happens?
No.
Well, you see, you've got this pattern here.
Oh, sorry. Right, you put 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what's happening is that it's just
It's just shifting it over. Sorry.
it's
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
across like that, right? One
Yeah.
by one, right? Okay. Okay, and just to finish up then, let's just have a bit of fun, and what we'll do is we'll put another label in here, right? We'll call it start, yeah? And then we'll press JP start, and now what I'm going to do, I don't want it to go to there actually. I want it to go to, right, we'll take that one out, and we'll go to there. Okay, so what I'm doing, and just to explain to you what I'm doing here, just for a bit of fun at the end, we're starting with this value, yeah, and then we are going to shift it across each time as before, but then when it's done at the end, I'm going to tell it to go back to the start and carry on, but print and go back HL back to the start there, and it's going to keep rotating the pattern and keep printing those pixels, right?
Yeah.
Inside that same character square. Now I hope that's going to work, and we'll see what happens if it does. So go to there, and this time I'm going to have to. I won't be able to break out of this, so. Yeah, it's got completely frozen there. I think what I need to do is I'm going to reset it, because it's rotating itself back to where it was originally. So instead what I'll do is I'll do it with, say, we'll do it instead of doing 8 lines, which would be a full rotate, I'll do it only with 6. Yeah, and we'll see what happens. I'm just kind of riffing here now, just have a bit of fun at the end. But yeah, we'll load that in, and we'll have to do randomize. So yeah, there you go. That's it. Right, just wait for
Animation.
Yeah.
Oh, if you press return, it slows it down. It reverses it, actually.
Ah, yeah. Now, why do you think that would be?
I have no idea.
Well, the reason is, it's quite simply, is that it's not synced, right?
Okay.
It's not synced to the screen update, right?
Okay.
So what happens is when you press a key, the processor starts to do other things as well as
Gotcha.
this kind of pattern, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna get a different result because it's gonna be interrupting itself effectively. That's essentially what it means, right? That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. There you go.
That's cool.
Well, it's a nice little effect at the end. Do you understand why I didn't get an animation when I did it with 8? Because it was going back to the same pattern again, right?
Yeah, it's exactly the same, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
From state.
Yeah, I mean, another way of doing that would be to have, to give it an offset of 1 pixel. Maybe I could do something like, let's go back one more time just for fun. Instead of doing that, yeah. We will rotate it one more time. And then we'll jump, right? So that's going to put the rotation off by 1 more pixel. See what I mean? Well, imagine that I'm going to draw the grid, that original pattern, right? Starting with this number, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's going to do that 8 times. We'll put B as 8 here, right? So it's going to do, and then by the time it gets to 8, this same pattern will be here, right?
Yes.
But what I'm doing then is, before I jump back, I'm going to shift it
You're
one more
it by
time,
1
right?
again.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So now I'll just run it again, and then we'll see what happens when we do that. So we will reset the machine first. Okay.
Now it looks like it's going up and down.
Right. Well, I'm guessing that you can. Yeah, I mean, you have a play about with it, right? But I'm guessing that you can actually run this code quicker than you can catch up with it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'd probably get the opposite effect if you used RLCA, right? Rotate left and carry.
Mhm.
So yeah, good. Well, I think that's enough, isn't it? We've had a good old session though. Had a really good chat actually.
That's
Really
been
made
brilliant.
me think. Well, Mitsuyama's asking me why I'm loading a 7-bit number, because I am stupid, probably. Yeah.
7-bit. Oh.
Nah, it's just a it's just a
Yeah.
typo, Mitsuyama. I'm cack-handed. That's all I am. It's a simple fact. I'm only human.
Well,
But
it's staying with us.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. No. He's our little control there. He's doing a good job. Yeah. I mean it's 4:51 a.m. here, mate, and I am.
You should go to bed, mate.
I'm fading away, and I'm making schoolboy errors, 7-bit numbers and things.
I mean,
he's like the smart
you,
kid. Mitsuyama's like the smart kid at the back of the class. It's like, sir, why have you done that 7-bit number, sir? That's not right, sir. Yeah, okay. Right, there you go. Good.
I mean, I understood all of that.
There you go. It's not that complicated, but it's just different, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's just it's different to what you're used to, but it's not. I mean, I think you can probably see from there that it's actually what we can do from here, right? Is we can then look at printing a character, and then we can look at moving that character. Maybe we can get a little face, and then you can even make it kind of move around the screen a little bit and whatever.
Yeah.
It's not.
Definitely.
And there's enough for you there just to kind of mess about, right?
Mm.
See if you can figure out how to print more than one character, mess about with the pattern, do stuff like that.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
All
I might
right.
try and make something that, like water or something.
Well, whatever floats your boat, give it a go. Don't be afraid of making it crash. You won't do any. It won't hurt, especially as it's emulated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice one.
Right then. Well, cats and kittens, I think we'll call it a night.
Yes.
And thank you, Mitsuyama. I think he's the only survivor. He's the only one left apart from us two. But I'm welcome also, and hello to all those vast numbers of people who are watching, later in the future.
Alan did, in fact, teach me some Z80.
I did. He's actually going to run off now and be an independent learner, aren't you?
I'll try.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing, but hopefully it will lead to greater things in the future. Okay, guys. Well, listen, thanks a lot. It's been fun. I'm going to get back to my... I'm going to get some sleep, and then tomorrow I'm going to be back to the packing and moving and all that stuff. But we'll be back next week, and we'll see. Perhaps we might even invite Andy back again. Why not? He seems like a pretty good student.
Yes.
All right.
Look
Take care, guys. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I'll say goodnight to Mitsuyama now, and I'll say my old sort of ending of Twitch stream thing. But you'll still be here because you're on Discord, remember? So.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. And please remember to subscribe and do all those sort of things. You can find me on YouTube as well, Happy Coding ZX, and on Patreon. And take care. And as always, happy coding. See you. Bye bye.